Aloha and welcome. In this video, we're going to be talking about IT asset management. So what is an asset? Well, an asset is any hardware or software component utilized in an organization's infrastructure. So asset management is the process of acquiring, operating, maintaining, and disposing of IT assets. While it's not talked about in our text, this is known as the asset life cycle. So, from when you acquire it to when you dispose of it and everything in between. Um, so IT asset management allows an organization to optimize resources efficiently and enhance your security controls and achieve cost savings. So implementing an IT asset management strategy involves maintaining up-to-date inventory records, ensuring compliance for all assets, and securely disposing of outdated technology. So recommended practices are going to include automating inventory management when feasible, continuously reviewing and updating security controls to counter new threats, and following established protocols for data sanitization, hardware disposal. So you're going to have, depending on where you work, there's going to be different types of asset management involved. When you're in organizations like the state, you're going to have more formal ones. When you're dealing with small companies, you may not even have a system. But in general, it's a good idea to have this concept of asset management because well, even in small companies, you're going to need some type of asset management because there's something called depreciation. So you have your assets are the things that you own, these, software and the hardware that you have. Um, and it could be use of cloud systems. That could be considered your asset as well. These things have intrinsic value to them. And for depreciation purposes, you're going to need to keep track of that if you're a private firm. So yes, this is important for everybody. The formality of the system depends on where you are. For example, I am at the university, and anything that you have here that is issued by the university has a nice stamp on it, and that stamp basically, says it belongs to the university. It has a barcode too. They can use that barcode, scan it, and put it into the system so they can manage these things. The most important thing, though, is to keep your inventory systems updated. And to do that, yes, you can have automated aspects of it, but you also need to do manual point in time checks too, because you're going to have to go through your things and inventory it. Because what happens if somebody steals a piece of equipment? What happens if a piece of equipment breaks down and we just replaced it? We may have recorded the replacing the new thing, but we didn't actually decommission the old one. When I say decommission, what I mean is to remove the seals from it and make sure the data was taken off and things like that. So we need to be careful with that. So anyway, there's a number of phases to asset management. There's identification, classification. That's when you determine the asset sensitivity and the value. You've got the acquisition and procurement phase, and that's where you acquire the necessary assets. You've got the inventory maintenance, and this is the ongoing one where you're cataloging and maintaining your asset inventory through enumeration. You're physically counting them. Then you've got security control implementation, and that's implementation. That's when you're applying security controls based on asset sensitivity. You've got review and update, which is when you're updating your inventory and your security controls. Then you got disposal and decommissioning, and that's when you're going to securely remove your assets. You're going to delete your data or destroy the hardware, depending on what your requirements are. So getting into the fun stuff, the IT asset disposal and decommissioning, there's the reason for doing this is that it reduces your risk in the final life cycle stage for an IT asset. It's going to protect your sensitive information that you may have on some of these machines, and it's going to, the secure disposal, it's going to involve two practices. One is sanitation, the other is destruction. We talked about destruction before. Sanitation, though, I think we talked about it a little bit, but sanitation is basically the thorough cleaning of data from a storage device to make sure that nothing recoverable remains on it. That can be, anything like overwriting your data to cryptographic erasure, which is when you delete the encryption keys so nobody can, get back the data that's on there. It just depends on what's on there as to whether you're going to just use sanitization. So for my personal drives, I do 3 bit level formats on them to make sure that pretty much all the data is off of there. If you're in a situation where that's not enough, if you're on, Department of Defense or, secret level, things, you may have to actually destroy these drives. And that's basically, rendering it, unusable or irretrievable, making the data irretrievable. So that's going to be what we talked about earlier, like shredding the hard drives, depulverizing the storage media, things like that. So one thing you have to keep in mind is there may be data retention that's necessary. So you'd want to remove the data from any of these assets before you destroy it. If you have legal reasons to do that, sometimes you're required to keep certain types of data for a certain number of years. So you definitely want to make sure that you do that beforehand, that you actually remove the data for data retention purposes, but then destroy the equipment that it's stored on, that it was stored on. So yeah, so that's it for this chapter. It's or this section. It's a really quick one. It's about IT asset management. We talk about the life cycle. We talk about the importance of updating our information in there. And then at the end of it, when we're just, when we're getting rid of it, sanitizing it or destroying the storage media before, we consider it decommissioned. So anyway, that's it for this section. It's a quickie, but have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Aloha.